What's going on, guys? It's Adam P and welcome back to more Newcastle United transfer news. Less than 1 week to go until deadline day. We now have the Liverpool game over and done with. The Champions League draw will happen before our next match against Leeds. Of course, on the channel there will be a live reaction and a live stream going through everything. But just to update you, Champions League draw before our next game. So we've got quite a lot going on. And I would argue a lot of positive Newcastle United transfer news today. I think there's a lot of positive news on social media, and especially after that game yesterday, certainly calmed the nerves and certainly a lot of good points to take going into deadline day. If you guys are new around here, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, join the journey and join the 43% watching this video who are already subscribed, and make sure you stay updated so you don't miss out on any Newcastle United transfer news. Starting off with this video, let's just get Alexander Isak over and done with so we can move on and talk about someone else. Now, Isak has had a visit from the Public Investment Fund. The literal chairman, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, has been to Isak's house. He's went there, had one-on-one with the player, been able to get in there, actually try and sort this out himself. And despite the literal chairman of the Public Investment Fund, you are talking number one of Saudi Arabians PIF in Isak's house, the player's still standing firm. No, is the answer from Isak, and that's been reported today from journalists. Isak is staying firm on the Liverpool move. He wants to move to Anfield. He doesn't want to play for Newcastle United again, and he is not backing down despite the ownership now being on top of the situation. And let's just say the obvious point. He can want Anfield all he wants. We can't sell you. Can we make this any clearer? Two strikers have to come into allowing Isak sale. I don't care what the player wants. The player has not done it on Newcastle United's terms. By law, you are contracted to Newcastle United. You have to train. You have to play for Newcastle United. And because of his behaviour and because of the way he's acted, it has damaged Newcastle United in the transfer market and also damaged Newcastle United on the pitch. Yesterday, same story again at Villa Park. Newcastle with a striker would have won both of those games. So you effectively dropped 5 points with a lack of striker. So Isak can sit there and go, I'm not playing for you again all he wants. We've already lost points this season because of that, guys. So why on earth would the PIF just go, well, okay, Isak, you can go to Liverpool now. We wouldn't drag this on all window long to then allow Isak to go in the last couple of days of the window, regardless of what the player wants. He would have been so way before in advance, because why would the club damage themselves in that way? We clearly tried to sign Benjamin Sesko for around £8 million. That didn't happen. Newcastle, ever since losing out in Sesko, they haven't been close to replacing Isak. There's been no player out there but Newcastle's actually went in for that has been an Isak replacement. It's all been the Callum Wilson replacement, and you wouldn't leave yourself short side. There is no way Newcastle signs one striker and Isak is so, it doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't damage yourself like that. So regardless of what the player wants, we have to bring the strikers in. If we don't get 2 strikers, he's staying. We can't make any clearer. Newcastle has to be firm on that. And Liverpool fans watching this video, you won't like me saying that, but that is truthful information. Isak staying has to happen unless Newcastle is able to sign 2 strikers and then we'll allow the sale. We wouldn't sell the player because it would damage our football club, and you can see it damages us anyway during this season. And I would argue not because Newcastle still looks strong, although you've got the background noise and although you've still got a lot of question marks. You can't let the player behave like this. If he moves to Liverpool now after everything that's happened, what does that tell the rest of the team? They're going to push for moves. They're going to do what they want if they want to go to a bigger club than Newcastle. And we can't allow this behaviour. We have to be firm and we have to stay strong. And so Isak remains firm now. But so will we. Both sides will remain firm and he'll go nowhere this summer. But just before we talk about the potential replacements that could come in and allow an Isak sale, injuries. 3 injuries yesterday: Sonali, Joe Linton and Shaw. Started off this morning, Fabian Shaw, a public announcement on his behalf saying that he's fine. Of course, he was the least injured out of the 3 players. He came off with a concussion protocol. A bit worrying at the time, but one that he knew, as long as the players all right coming off the pitch, one that he knew would be coming back sooner rather than later. And it looks that way straight away. Fabian Shaw, saying he's all right, obviously congratulating the fans and just talking about the team spirit yesterday. He's fine. Joe Linton is also fine. So his wife has came out on Instagram allowing fans and letting fans know that there's no operation needed. It's just slight muscle injury, nothing concerning there. Bit of a bang. Should be all right in a few days is what she said. So we'll take her word for it. And I'm buzzing with that one because we needed Joe Linton back. Nothing on Sonali just yet, and he had the worst injury out of the three because he couldn't feel his arm. Look straight away like his arm's just not working at all. So we have to make sure he's all right. But yeah, he is certainly the one out of the three I've got the most concern towards. But Shaw's fine, Joe Linton's fine. So that's great news. Potentially both of them back, maybe in time for Leeds. But if not, no reason to rush them. We've got a good enough squad at the minute. We've got a big squad there. Test some of these players out. Test Ramsey out. Test Osula out. Test Chow out. Test our new signs and test our younger players to come in and do a job because they are there to do a job. So allow them to have the opportunity to do so. And when you look at potential signings we could bring in, we start off with Larsen and Wissa because this one has gained new life now. Yes, again, at Brentford, there was a butterfly effect. Happened before, but then we realised it was an Bruno replacement at first. Now a second butterfly effect coming in where you've got Wolves striker off the Dortmund, Dortmund striker off the Brentford, Brentford striker off the Newcastle. So this is the butterfly effect. You've got Beer coming over to Brentford, and that surely would allow a potential Wissa sale, and then that £60 million valuation will come down back to your realistic £30 to £40 million. I still reckon Brentford are going to stay firm and go back to that initial £40 million price tag. But you know what? £40 million for Wissa, if we can get him in for that amount, I'm happy with that. I think I am. And again, that's good money for Brentford. It's not like we're robbing them. That is, you would argue, still probably a better deal for Brentford getting £40 million for a 29-year-old who's got effectively a 12-month contract with me. I know he's got a 1-year extension in there, but contractually now is currently 12 months left. But when you look at Wissa, again, saying now what in, this guy wants to be here, he wants number 9, he likes the African heritage of Newcastle United, he likes what the football club's done, even during the Mike Ashley years, so he's exactly the sort of player you want here. Hopefully the butterfly effect goes well, hopefully the signings are working well for Brentford so they can allow Wissa sale, and then that's one player at least through the door this week, but especially with 6 days, you need 2 deals to go ahead and then Brentford to open up the Wissa sale. So you've got 3 deals in the space of 6 days. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to allow that sale, but at least a potential opening there. And going back on topic, Strand Larsen is also still an option for Newcastle United. Now, I've always kind of believed with the news that it was either a Larsen or Wissa situation, but if Wissa's open and then Newcastle's still going for Larsen, despite Wolves saying that he's not for sale at all, Newcastle haven't walked away. Newcastle are lining up a potential second bid now. And it looks like Newcastle are going to test their luck. It looks like Newcastle's almost calling Wolves bluff. Looking at Wolves going, well, you guys said he's not for sale. Let's find out. And it seems to be that impression that Newcastle was going to push Wolves. Looks like Newcastle is actually going to test them and decide if they can do anything with the deal. Now, to be fair, if you were to tell me now, Larsen and Wissa, that's still a big if, but Larsen and Wissa, if you can get those 2 in, Isak, you can go. You can go this week. I think it's that simple. In an ideal world, 2 strikers in, who goes? If it's Larsen and Wissa, I think Newcastle's got a good couple of players from that. Again, I'm not even going to suggest that that's going to happen at the minute because there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. We haven't signed one of them yet, never mind both of them. So we'll have to see if that is potentially what Newcastle United is lining up on the cards. But again, we can get 2 strikers in. I'm all for Isak leaving. I actually am. We aren't holding him hostage. We aren't keeping this guy at the football club. We are keeping him here if we don't bring the options in. I must emphasise the 2 strikers coming in. If we don't get the 2 strikers, he's not going anywhere. But if it's Larsen and Wissa, go. Alex, you can go to Anfield. You can go to Liverpool. They put 130, 140 million pounds down. I think Newcastle would accept that if 2 strikers come in. But that's still a question of whether that does happen within 6 days now. I would argue it's unrealistic. I currently don't see it feasible that Newcastle does complete 2 signs before allowing any sack sale. But eventually going back and just talking a bit more into Newcastle United, I can understand the player's frustration. I can understand the player wanting to leave a football club, and every player, whether they are contracted to a club or not, has a right to be able to say, I want to leave, I want to go elsewhere. But to continue to put your foot down, despite the 2 performances Newcastle put in so far this season, look at the effort, look at the determination, look at the grit from Eddie Howe and his players on that pitch. And this guy is continuing to stay on strike, is continuing to force this Liverpool move, and is continuing to put everything down into one basket. I mean, it's truly disgusting behaviour. And I stand by it now. As a Newcastle United fan, I may come across as biased in these videos. Liverpool fans may look at me now and go, well, Adam, of course I'm going to say that I'm a Newcastle United fan, but honestly, do not defend this behaviour. I've said it all window long, and I continue to say we are clearly struggling on the pitch. Eddie Howe and his players are put into really good performances and got 1 point out of it. How we've only got 1 point out of them 2 performances, I will never know, because we've deserved all 6. I really feel like we have. It's been 2 very good performances, and you've got a guy who probably would have watched the game at home yesterday, and unfortunately the results has went into his favour, because he knows his impact has cost Newcastle points. He knows deep down Newcastle would have got results with him in the squad, and that's the leverage he has over Newcastle. That's the chokehold he has in our football club, because he knows we're knackered without him, and he knows that is going to get his Liverpool move if replacements come in. I just can't defend the behaviour. Newcastle were confident a couple of days ago they were going to try and get him back into training today. Hasn't happened. Player has continued to stay firm with his agent. They've done it all window long, and it's been destructive towards Newcastle in the transfer market. You just can't defend this behaviour, and that's why I still am on the ownership fence, where I say keep him. If he refuses to play, he doesn't get paid. That's that simple. He doesn't get paid. Let's see him do this in the prime year of his career when the transfer window is closed. I don't think he continues this. I'm telling you now, once that transfer window closed, I've continued to stand on it. I still don't think he refuses to play. It doesn't make logical sense. He would play at some point, unless he physically wants to be at home every week earning very little money. I know the guy's already got a lot of money, but you wouldn't waste your career away like that. I don't believe he would. I really don't believe he would. And I think Newcastle needs to be able to call out this blow. I don't see this stance continue with Isak. I just don't understand how him and his agent can continue after the window closed to play a game like this. I don't think they'll play it. I think after this window closed, you're talking a new contract, opportunity to come back in. I know you guys don't want that, and deep down, I would much rather just get 2 strikers and sell the guy now. But if you don't get 2 strikers, he needs to stay. Have to be strong on it, and need to continue to empathise on that going into the last week of the transfer window. But this behaviour is unacceptable. Even after the Liverpool game yesterday, he's still continuing his crap. It's not good enough at all.